8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news, edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Indrani Senanayake. The headlines. The President says that officials must effectively implement directives related to the country's development. Dengue cases crossed the 69,000 mark, 1,400 cases within the week. India adjusts 15 million rupee grant to the INR for Buddhist ties. Plans afoot to initiate intelligence unit to protect students from drugs. Government allocates 465 billion rupees for education in 2024. In foreign news, more than 150 people have been killed after an earthquake struck remote western Nepal. During the Nuwara Special District Coordination Committee meeting held today at the Nuwara District Secretariat, President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the importance of effective implementation of directives related to the country's development. He underscored the government officials must promptly execute decisions made during District Development Committee meetings and stated his commitment to preventing any programs that could hinder the country's progress. Furthermore, he warned that action would be taken against the heads of government institutions who failed to properly implement the instructions regarding the country's development activities. The meeting was attended by both political authorities of the district and government officials. The discussions covered the development programs implemented in the Nuwara district, along with future development plans. The tally of dengue cases recorded for 2023 has topped the 69,000 mark, according to the Epidemiology Unit. As of today, a total of 69,231 cases have been reported for 2023, with the highest number of cases being reported from the Colombo district, which stood at 14,634. The Western Province has recorded 33,139 cases, the highest province-wise. The month of October logged 4,010 dengue cases, while in November, so far, it stands at 738. Moreover, a total of 1,453 dengue infections have been reported for the last 7 days. So far, 39 fatalities have been reported in 2023. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. We continue with local news. In 2020, for the promotion of Buddhist ties between India and Sri Lanka, the two countries had been recalibrated to Indian rupee to suit the latest market developments. The bilateral documents were exchanged in the presence of President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Finance Minister of India, Nirmala Sitharaman, who was in Sri Lanka. The grant was announced in 2020 in US dollar terms, but the value of Sri Lankan currency has depreciated drastically since then. The total value of the grant in terms of Sri Lankan rupee term is much less today because of the currency depreciation. There are other changes in market conditions since then. Therefore, the grant was recalibrated to Indian rupees, a source said. State Minister for Higher Education, Mr. Suren Raghavan, announced a substantial allocation of funds for the education sector in the year 2024, emphasizing the government's commitment to enhancing the quality and accessibility of education in Sri Lanka. A total of 255 billion rupees will be allocated for primary and secondary education, signifying a pivotal investment in the foundational stages of learning. In addition, a significant allocation of 210 billion rupees has been earmarked for higher education, further underscoring the nation's dedication to fostering advanced learning and research. That ends the local segment of news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Veda Mahatmya.
The government mulls establishing Social Intelligence Unit to help students rid themselves from the drug menace. This was revealed by State Minister of Defence Pramita Bandara Thenakon at the NCC Training Centre at Ranthambore during the passing out parade of the NCC Herman Loos and De Souza Championship 2023 as the chief guest recently. Efforts are also being made to popularise and promote the activities of our talented children at National Cadet Corps through modern technical methods, the State Minister added.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
We now take a look at Watchlight. The Department of Irrigation has issued an extension of the amber flood warning for the basin of Nilwala Ganga for an additional 24 hours. This decision has been made due to the prevailing adverse weather conditions in the region. While issuing the flood warning, Irrigation Director SPC Sugishwara said people and motorists are requested to pay high attention to these warnings. Disaster management authorities too are requested to take adequate precautions in this regard. That came to you in Watchlight. Now we take a look at the world news. First, the headlines. Musa Dadis Camara, Guinea ex-ruler sprung from jail by armed men. Elon Musk sees an AI future where no job is needed. More than 150 people have been killed after an earthquake struck remote western Nepal. Guinea's former military ruler, Moussa Dadis Camara, has been sprung from prison by armed men, the country's justice minister says. The group stormed a jail in the capital early this morning, freeing Captain Camara and 3 others. One has been found. The fugitives are currently on trial for their alleged roles in deaths of more than 150 people in a 2009 protest. The country's borders have been closed as the authorities hunt for them. Guinea's Justice Minister Charles Alfonso Wright announced the escape on local radio later today. Elon Musk declared artificial intelligence, AI, one of the most disruptive forces in history in a sit-down conversation with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak that drove into the dangers and opportunities of AI on Thursday, capping off the UK's inaugural AI Safety Summit. AI will be a force for good, most likely, Musk said, but the probability of it going bad is not 0%. The two men spoke in an interview-style chat from a stage at Lancaster House, a government venue in central London, often used for diplomatic purposes, before the conversation was opened up to questions from journalists. More than 150 people have been killed after an earthquake struck remote western Nepal yesterday. Security forces have been deployed to help rescue efforts in the rugged districts of Jagakot and West Rukum, 500 kilometers west of Kathmandu. Strong tremors were felt far away in the Nepalese capital and in cities in neighbouring India, including Delhi. An army spokesman said that more than 100 people have been injured. Jajakot's hospital is packed with the wounded. To end this bulletin of world news, the headlines again. Musa Dadis Camara, Guinea ex-ruler sprung from jail by armed men. Elon Musk sees an AI future where no job is needed. More than 150 people have been killed after an earthquake struck remote West Nepal. That ends this bulletin of world news.
Development news.
The 2 fertilizer companies of the government have agreed to provide fertilizer needed for the tea cultivation at the production price. Lanka Fertilizer Company and the Commercial Fertilizer Company are producing mixed fertilizer for the cultivation of tea, cinnamon, coconut and for other plantation crops. The Independent Association of Tea Industrialists has requested Minister Mahinda Amarweera to provide these fertilizer at a concessionary price. And that was development news.
Moving on with sports news.
On to sports news. Dilki Devmini Karunaratne, representing Vishaka Vidyalaya, and 2 other exceptional athletes showcased remarkable performances on the first day of the Ritsbury 52nd Sir John Tabert Junior Athletics Championship held at the Sugadadasa Stadium yesterday. The efforts led to the establishment of 3 new meet records. That was sports news.
Go ekakthiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Airport and Aviation Services Private Limited has earned 28.5 billion rupees in revenue during the past 9 months from the 1st of January to the 30th of September and said that it was an increase of 57% when compared to the same period in 2022. AASL Chairman Major General Retired G.A. Chandrasiri said 15.9 billion rupees was earned as operational profit during these months. That was business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Over 70 travel companies from Sri Lanka will participate in the World Tourism Market that will begin on Monday at the Excel Exhibition Centre. Director Marketing Sri Lanka Tourism Dushan Wickramasuriya said that this year too, Sri Lankan companies would be housed in a large pavilion and the opening ceremony would be held at 10:30 a.m. with the presence of Minister of Tourism Harin Fernando. That was economic news.
Weather report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department said that heavy showers of about 100 millimeters will occur after 1 p.m. today in the central, Sabaragamuwa and North Central provinces and in the Mannar, Vavuniya and Mullaitivu districts. They said fairly heavy showers of about 50 millimeters are likely in the northern and eastern provinces during the morning hours. Misty conditions are expected in the Sabaragamuwa, Central and Uva provinces during the morning hours too. To end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. The President says that officials must effectively implement directives related to the country's development. Dengue cases crossed the 69,000 mark, 1,400 cases within the week. India adjusts 15 million rupee grant to INR for Buddhist ties. Plans afoot to initiate intelligence unit to protect students from drugs. Government allocates 465 billion rupees for education in 2024. In foreign news, more than 150 people have been killed after an earthquake struck remote West Nepal. That ends tonight's news broadcast. It is a minute to 9 o'clock. This is Radio Sri Lanka.